All right. The circular argument. Dak Prescott and the contract, and should we sign Dak Prescott and should we not sign Dak Prescott? Look, in order for this thing to go, we must figure this thing out at the end of the day. It's a circular argument because we can't, for one, dance in the free agency. We can't dance there. And for two, even if we do try to dance there, right, you got to sign Dak Prescott. It will be foolish for us to do anything else with this team. We are at that point right now that it's so toxic, it's so crazy to talk about it, that we really can't do anything but sit here and wait for the Joneses to make their mind up. Now, I come here to tell you guys that there's one thing that can go a long way. Responsibilities. Responsibilities goes a long way. And this responsibility of securing your quarterback been on the head and shoulders of Jerry Jones. Now, granted, it's been reported that Dak Prescott camp want 3 years opposed to 4 years, opposed to 5 years, and that argument, I hear all of the wonderful people from 105.3 The Fan and beyond saying that, hey, it's just one of those things that now we got to look back and say, all right, cool. Now Dak Prescott camp got the leverage or don't have the leverage. We going to have to figure this out. We do. Not we, but the Joneses, because when the thing continue to move on and on and on and on about the Dak Prescott saga and about this and that, when other teams are focusing on what? Team building, how they can bring in a better safety, how they can bring in a better interior defensive lineman, how they can help booster up their offensive line. So while we talking about quarterback, the other teams are trying to develop and build their team. They're not fooling around with this thing. And I do know that it appears that even though if they sign Dak Prescott to a 3-year deal, 124 million dollars? Yeah, it will be the highest guaranteed money ever signed, the biggest contract ever signed, blah, 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 blah. Let's get this thing over with. I think that the fan base deserve a little bit more. We patronize this team. We support this team. We always at the game. Oh, I get it. Oh, I get it now. Oh, yeah, it just hit me. Regardless, we're going to be at the games, right? That is what the Joneses are saying. Regardless of what we throw at the Cowboys fans, they resilient. They resilient. They'll be at the games. They're going to parlay anyway. We're going to dance around. We're going to be at every game saying, go Cowboys. And I do hear the reports from my dog, Brian Broader, saying, yes, we will sign back Andy Dalton. And they will still be at the game. I've seen people say, hey, Andy, Dallas Cowboys wasn't that bad with Andy. They had the nerve to say, well, at least he won games last year. But here's the situation. With all jokes aside, if the Cowboys are saying to themselves, they'd rather sign Andy Dalton to a 1-year deal and use Andy as that bridge guy. Hear me out. Use Andy as that bridge guy. Draft a quarterback in the first round and say, hey, Dak Prescott, we tried. When we tried and we tried and we can't find a dancing partner for you as it relates to agreeing to your terms, paying you $40 million or $41 million, then we're going to roll out with Andy Dalton. Then I would prefer the Cowboys to go ahead and do that. That's the craziest thing of it all. I will prefer them to go ahead and just have a set of cojones, a set of balls, and roll with Andy Dalton. Let everybody know that, hey, they do not, look, it's already written all over everybody's faces in the front office that they don't really buy into the Dak Prescott situation. Just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. Say that, hey, we fell on the sword. We slammed the door in our own faces by getting the deal done earlier, but we didn't get it done earlier. And we'll roll out to Andy Dalton. we will go and draft a player, and we'll move on from Dak Prescott. It will save a whole lot of headaches. And then you go out there, Cowboy Nation, and you focus in on that defensive interior guy. You focus in on that safety guy. But newsflash, the problem is with that thought track, even when the Cowboys were paying Dak Prescott $680,000 a year, they still didn't develop no strong, stabilized defense or strong, stabilized. They still been having the same issues over and over again. That's all I wanted to say. It's been the same issue over and over and over again. So, just rip the Band-Aid off, right? Just rip it off and tell everybody, all right, we're moving on. But to string us along with this cat and mouse game, it's just not right. Let's get this thing going the best way. Let's stop going back and forward and back. And then the craziest thing of it all, for 3 years now, we've been talking about this. Worth, value. He's not worth $28 million, too much money. And then the goalposts move again. He's not worth $32 million. Then the goalposts move again. Oh man, it'd be crazy to pay the man 35. And now it'd be crazy to pay the man $41 million. To Dak Prescott? Come on. Go ahead, Cowboy Nation. You can pay Andy Dalton. His market value right now is $6.5 million. You pay the $6.5 million. The money that you have left from the cap space will be right around, once they restructure this and restructure that, maybe $30 million free that you will have heading into 2021, give or take, whoever contract you touch on. And you better flat out use that money to put some defense out there, interior defensive guy. Bring in a Justin Simmons or bring in Anthony Harris or whoever you can find. I don't want to hear this back and forth and then looking out saying, oh man, the quarterback that got away. And whatever Dak Prescott do on another team, that's just him doing it on another team. But when we look at everything, Cowboy Nation, the fish rots from the head down. And I don't understand why a lot of people do not understand that part of it. Now, that was me objectively speaking. Now, for the other people that look at this situation and saying, well, why pay a quarterback $40 million and why, if you pay the quarterback $40 million, that we won't have movements to do this, we won't have movements to do that. Well, if you go ahead and bite into this contract, don't look at it like it's $40 million off the cap right ahead or right immediately. You can prorate, you can spread this money out, you can do a lot of things, and you, on top of that, can readjust Amari Cooper's contract, Ezekiel Elliott's contract. There's contracts that you can go in and spread that thing out. Yes, it will be a longer spread, but at the end of the day, you will have continuity, you will have rapport, you will have a team that you know for sure that if you can do is just increase on this end of it, instead of blowing it all the way up, then you have a better chance. But if you want to start all the way over, let's open up a can of worms because we don't know. We don't know the unknown of how this team is going to respond if you go with an Andy Dalton and if you go with a Gary Gilbert, a Ben DiNucci. But who knows? It's the Joneses. That's why they're billionaires. That's why they're billionaires, right? Post me your thoughts, post me your concerns down below of this whole saga, the Dak Prescott saga crap. And let me know. Are you ready to say to yourself, okay, the Joneses believe in Andy Dalton, because he's not asking for 40, right? They say, hey, we'd love to have you back on. We'd love to bring you back. And Andy was sitting there saying, dog, this is Dak Prescott team. This is not my team. I want to be a starter. But if there's nobody that's out there seeking Andy, maybe, just maybe, I guess the Cowboys love to go into the bottom of the band and pull out players, right? That's what we do, baby. free this situation all the way out, Cowboy Nation. Help this thing out, right? Walmart, Dollar General, Best Buy. Oh no, I'm sorry, Best Buy too, Richie. What was the Payless type of players? Burlington, Kofax. Yeah.